What's up, guys? Your boy Shellhead Tony here with my main friends, Mr. Johnny 5.
What up?
How are you, sir? Wheezy?
Doing
What's
good.
going on?
All right, time for a little bit of a shameless plug here. We might have two today, but Johnny, go with the first one.
All right, we got j5toys.com, free shipping. Also, don't forget Grubsport. You got to check it out.
Grubsport. What is
Yeah.
Grubsport? Real quick, throw it in there.
All right, so Grubsport is Food Mutant Deathmatch. So this is a little IP I created. We have a video game that's going to be coming out soon. 16-bit Super Nintendo style fighter game. So these characters have come to life through a mad scientist accident explosion happening. And so basically they fight each other. That's all they do. It's a giant tournament where they all fight. And they fight. Nothing but fighting all day long.
Lots of fun.
And so I'm also working on getting figures set up for that. So in the meantime though, we got merch and we also got coloring book. So that's available on Amazon. If you look up Grubsport Food Mutant Deathmatch, we have a bio book as well. So this has all the all the information about each character, their biography, why they're fighting, as well as fun pages to color.
Is that the clam on the front?
Yes, that's Van Clam.
Van
As you
Clam.
see, doing
There's
some
no
drop
first
kick
name.
action.
There is no first name, so this is me just saying this is not copywritten. I'm not calling him Jean-Claude Van Clam, but God damn it, I want it to be that.
No, his name is Van Clam.
It's fantastic.
That's
Very, very cool piece, guys. So, Shellheads, we don't have anything near that cool, but it's fantastic, Johnny. That's awesome. It's a cool thing altogether. So, for those of you listening for the first time, this is what is called Drinks and Toys. So, we may be discussing anything and everything toy related, but at the same time, salud, we're all sitting on some kind of drink. It doesn't matter if it's sweet tea or a tub of vodka. We're having a great time, and we're all chilling out and just talking about toys and what we love, and we hope you love it too. So, today's agenda, we had a great show last time, and a lot has happened in the last week or so. And so this show, we had all discussed that, we really want to dive into what's going on with collectors these days. If you're a new collector, should you or do you want to get into the scene? There's things you just had from your childhood maybe that you want to get back into and you just don't know where to start. You see so many cool things coming out that represent what you used to love or what you kind of love now. Maybe you got into something. And, just what's out there and what's happening and what should collectors do? So, Johnny, I know you were talking about it the most. So, jump in, man. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, it happened with I had a discussion with another person on one of the Facebook groups about Transformers. He's a new collector. He was hopping in, and he was just shell shocked at some of the second market pricing for. You like
sorry,
that?
you what?
Shell shocked.
All right, cool. Sorry, guys. For listeners,
at the
yeah.
pricing. And I was explaining to him, yeah, there's the second market can get crazy. However, I was giving him some advice, and I'm like, you know what, this would actually be cool to kind of put out there. If you're a new collector, there are some things that are getting reissues. So just kind of do your due diligence, kind of research a bit. For example, Hasbro lately has been reissuing a lot of things. Even from their Marvel Legend lines. For example, that Colossus and Juggernaut 2-pack. Was it from the 75th anniversary? I mean, for a while, the pricing on that was going insane, and now there's a reissue that's coming out.
And they just did the Red Hulk too.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that, and what I was advising him, especially with the Transformers, and I'm like, hey, look, I mean, not to deter you, because for example, I have a he was looking at Devastator. I have a Devastator on my site, and it's the Combiner War Devastator. If you look online, I have it going for what the current market value is. It's just the nature of that beast. But I told him, I was like, look, I'll be honest with you, not to throw away a sale, but you know what? Hold off. It's not like it's a secret. Hasbro has announced they're doing a Studio Series 86 Devastator. There's a new Devastator coming out. It's probably going to be better molded. It's going to be a new mold, so it's probably going to be better than this Devastator. So just if you have the means to wait, You know, if you have to have it, you know, it is what it is. You're going to pay that pricing if you have to have it.
Yeah, because
You
even
know,
like Mattel's doing the same thing with their wrestling figures because they're releasing a lot of their original figures they did when they first got the license. They're re-releasing a bunch of
like
the
the
first few
LJN
waves.
style kind of stuff.
Who?
Like the LJN style kind of stuff.
No,
like the
they're
I'm
like
not
the
a
the big
wrestling
elite.
rubber
person. But
ones.
I'm just
They're
thinking.
elite figures that they started back in like
Oh, okay. Yeah.
2011ish, 2012 when they first got the license. But a lot of those figures for the first few waves are really rare because they never did them again. Now they're on like wave 100 or whatever. But they're going to start re-releasing some of those original figures they had, and then people are freaking out at first about the value of the original ones, but it gives people the chance to get that missed it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because like there was a Jeff Hardy that got put out and 3 showed up, but then something happened, they pulled the figures, and it goes for hundreds of dollars. But now they're re-releasing, and people are freaking out. But I think it's fair for people. It's a good idea. Boxes are different, so you can have like the original, or you can have the re-pro, right?
Yeah,
But it gives newer collectors a chance to get it without having to go insane.
exactly. Well, it's like what was it that the Ghostbuster Ecto One.
Yeah.
Um,
The
you
real
know, they
Ghostbusters.
did it. Yeah, they did a reissue of that in this year, 2024, because of the new movie that came out, right? So they, you know, Hasbro reissued that figure, but it has the 2024 marking on it versus the other one, which was what 2022, 2021, I think.
Yeah, but the 2024 one is the 84 Ghostbuster Ecto one, and then the one that
Not
came
the
out,
afterlife, but
right?
yeah, but like case in point, it's you know you have something that you know if you missed out on that, you have a chance at again at something like that, or you know, or maybe even improvement. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to go through it. I don't know if it has as far as articulation, transformation, if it's any better than
I
that
mean, I
first
know the
run.
one thing it does have that I don't believe the Afterlife one had is that it has the proton rack in the back of it that pulls out, so you put the
Oh,
packs
so when you open
between
the back
three-quarter
hatch,
figures on it, and it goes in.
that's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
But like this is also what we've discussed so far is for newer stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what about the collectors who are getting in? So say Turtles, right? And they're like, oh, vintage versus just buy the repros that are popping up now in Target and Walmart's. Like somebody who wants to say, oh, I want to get an original Brothers, they start looking at the prices of in package soft heads versus you could just get the repros in Walmart hard head ones, right? But even you can find the soft heads that got re-released for a lot cheaper than trying to get those. Like I think that's a
Exactly.
good move for a new collector, unless they want to have the bragging rights of, oh, I have an original 10 pack. And then that comes down to what the collector is collecting for.
Exactly. And
You're right.
yeah, and I think a lot of it though, most of these people that are just now coming in are casual collectors. You know, they're
I
like,
agree.
"Yeah, I remember this when I was a kid." It's becoming a lot more commonplace and acceptable now. Remember,
Almost bad.
yeah, you gotta remember, like that culture as far as adults collecting toys, it was very taboo. You go back 10 years, you know, it has that taboo-ness to it. Like, dude, you're an adult, you're collecting toys. You know, you go back 15 years, you know, 20 years, like I grew up you know in that era where like you know if I was like in my teenage years and they're like, dude, you're collecting toys. That's one of the things where you know, so
Oh,
it,
sorry.
it's no, but like it's crazy.
We
Like
went to different
I
high
came from
schools.
that era. No, I came from that era where like after you turn about 12 or 13, you know, it's like you stop playing with toys. You put those things away. That was the
Yeah,
common thing. Like you go outside and you
yeah,
start.
no. You start going, yeah. But then, like, one drunken night, once you're older, you're like, you know what? I want to buy back my Ninja Turtles from when I was a kid. That's where I started. And then
It's weird, yeah.
it's like, because it was around 2007 when I started getting back into collecting. And it was like kind of drunk. And then I found like a Pixel Dan video when he was on that new toy smell was a podcast video cast that he used to do with a bunch of his friends. And then I was like, oh, so this is like an acceptable thing. Like there's other people that just want to buy back their childhood, and then it just snowballed into
And it's
this
blown up,
stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Which also kind of sucks because if you've been collecting for a while and you have things that are coming out that you're like, man, I've been waiting for something like this to come out, but now everyone and their brother is starting to collect, and you're like, mother.
well, part of the problem right now when that happens is that I still call them COVID collectors. Like they're not.
Yep.
A lot of these people aren't not can't say like real collectors because some of them do actually collect because they just got into it during COVID. But a lot of the people who do buy out a lot of stuff at the stores are people who are looking for that easy flip
Mm-hmm.
because during COVID, so many people lost work, whatever the reason being, and they're like, "Oh, I could buy toys from Target and I could sell them to people who can't find them," and they started, scalping in masses,
But now they're sitting on them.
literally, and then they sell them, from their storage unit. So, but at the same time, what you said before about they're like casual collectors because they're new people, they're casual, but I feel like most collectors start off as a casual because you're just getting back into it. Even if you collected before and you took years off, you come back into it really casual until you hit that slope that you fall down. It's like, all right, well now I'm all in.
until you get dope sick with toys,
right?
And then you just.
When I started collecting again, it was literally like, oh, I'm going to buy back some of the
I'm
cool
gonna buy a
toys
couple
I had
figures.
as a kid, and that's going to be it. And then
Take a break.
100 Predators later, 100 Alien figures, hundreds of Turtle figures later, I'm deep, right? So,
Y'all got any more of them turtles? Pretty much it. I think to Chris's point, man, with the casual collector, and he's right, they turn into real collectors, but I think it starts out with, I want something to collect. So they find something, they run after it and start collecting it. And then what happens is halfway through, they're like, I don't really want this. And so they maybe gravitate or graduate towards something else where they're like, I have a passion for this, I remember this, or I just like this. And they take it and they run with it. And so I'll kind of use, I guess, myself as an example. I've always been a Turtles person. I've owned every Turtle from the original 10-backs all the way up to the sports Turtles. I think it was 1995. And I owned everything up until then. So all the rarities, everybody wanted to own, I owned. And I sold them all off when I was about 23, 24 years old. And I'm going to be 44. I'm 43 now, and I look gorgeous. But so now I'm buying back with my originals. I do have the originals, so that's my bragging rights. And then I'm buying the remakes that are coming out. And so as a true collector of this line of Turtles, I think there's so many awesome opportunities for people to own what they A, remember as a child, or B, wanted to own even now and still are not financially able to spend what those items cost. Because you want to go, I'll just give you an example. They reissued Leatherhead. He's probably only one of the only figures in the entire reissue line that if you ever open him up, I did not, my son did. If you open him up, that he has the same quality as the original Leatherhead. Even his weapons have the same quality as the original Leatherhead. It's a great piece. And you cannot touch an original Leatherhead mint on the card for less than $100. It's not going to happen. He's probably going to be $150 to $200. But you can't touch it for less. That's Raven, everybody. Sorry for those of you that can't see. And she's on my shoulder.
So, are you judging me? I'm gone.
God bless her, dude. She's a good cat. But so the original Leatherhead, you can't touch them for less than $150, $200. But you can get the reissue, and the card looks awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. And the figure, when you open it, is awesome. So it's great for collectors who just want to have the nostalgia of having, I got it in my hand. It's mint on the card. I remember getting this as a kid off the shelf. Right. I think it's awesome.
And that's where the difference of what they're collecting for comes from.
Right. Is it because it's something they like, or is it because, man, I'm going to make money on this? Well, you're not going to make money on it.
Right. Well, no, but you're not going to make money, but like some collectors collect for that bragging right? Of, oh, I have the originals. So my example of that would be, I'm just waiting for Playmates to eventually re-release Scratch, right? Like
it's going to happen.
The way they're doing it, it's going to eventually happen.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
I'll buy him, and then I'm good with having that as my Scratch in my Playmates collection. I don't need an original Scratch. He's overpriced for stupid inflated reasons that aren't real for him. Yeah, I know you got.
Well, and that's the crazy thing too, because the reissue when it comes out, a lot of those secondhand pricing, for that Scratch, it's going to go down some. Not a lot, because it's still going to be the original OG in box. Like especially the mint ones, if it's graded at a good, high grade, that's still going to maintain for the most part its pricing. The other ones though, they're going to drop
Yeah, they're going to drop, but at the same time,
because of that demand for it. It's going
but
to,
when you have loose ones currently going for like 1,000 to
it's
1,300
crazy.
for a loose one, when the repros come out, yeah, it might drop, but it's not going to drop insane amount to where I'm going to be like, oh, I'll buy one now, because I'm not going to spend $500 on a loose scratch.
Well, you'll get them for $1,000 with no
I don't
accessories.
collect for that reason.
Yep.
You know,
or like
I
a
collect
G1 Optimus in box G1 Optimus. Good luck getting one for less than a couple $1,000s. If you do, it's like, wait, what?
So not to hit a tangent, but I was on eBay the other day because I mean, where else are you gonna find most of these items, right? So I was on eBay the other day and I'm like, man, I gotta look up Transformers, and I'm like, I'd love to own an original run of the first set of Diaclones. I'd love to own that in my collection and sell off other things if I had to, just to own those.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't touch one Diaclone. Real Diaclone, collectible, like all there, sealed in the package. Nothing was less than $2,000.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm happy with my missing link. That's about as close to getting, close to getting the G1 Optimus Prime inbox without having to go through, And I'm sure if I wanted to, I can hunt like a loose one and just pay a couple hundred, here and there, like, kind of put it together. But that's really not the same,
So I bid on a Diaclone. I'm just tell you. So Gun Robo came up, right? So it's Megatron.
Yeah.
So Gun Robo shows up. I'm like, I'm not gonna win this. It was like $100. I'm like, I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna put 1,000 on it because I'm stupid. So I put $1,000 on this, thinking, man, if I get this for $1,000, I did a great job. It's sealed. It's great. All that beautiful stuff. Ended up going for like 7,000. In my brain, I'm like, that's astronomical on eBay. Ended up going for like $7,000. Something stupid.
No, I can see that.
Yeah, but in my head, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
See that, yeah.
But it's really not crazy. That's what that piece is going for. So as a new collector, if you want a Megatron as a gun, because everybody does, and it's hard to find, you got to do what Weizie and I do. We grab a couple of those key pieces. Mm-hmm. I got you. That turn into guns. Whether it be an MP Megatron, Deformation Megatron, there's only a handful that still turn into guns. The rest turn into tanks. And now my cat is sleeping in the bunker of the G.I. Joe piece. This is adorable. I'm sorry, off subject, but Raven's sleeping in the bunker. That's it. She got a missile next to her.
Speaking of that Megatron and turning into a gun, have you guys seen the interview with the Hasbro team? Or who was it? I think it was Evan, where he was talking about the Studio Series 86 Megatron is going to be a tank.
Oh, yeah, they said.
And then people, and there's a whole bunch of people that are griping and complaining. I'm like, look, I'm sorry, that's just the law. They can't, it's just the way it's changed. Legal, like, I get it. Their legal standpoint is they can't do it. And here's the thing. Yes, I feel like there are ways around that. You can have Takara Tomy release a Japanese version of that. And then, of course, you have to deal with buying it through them.
Import it, yeah.
Yeah. Because third party companies make Megatrons all the time that turn in. Look at Dr. Wu. That's the most recent one I've seen that turns into a gun.
Now,
so I think
mine right there turns into a gun.
Is the problem because when it turns in how real it looks? Like if they made Megatron colored like a Nerf gun, would they then be okay?
I guess that's kind of like the legal standpoint, but here's the thing again: could you really say it's the G1 Megatron if it's
no?
Like,
I'm just saying, like, the legality of it, like they put guns.
Yeah, that's their.
Figures, so it's not like they're against guns. You know what I mean? Like their Marvel Legends come with guns. A bunch of them come with guns, so it's not like McFarlane in DC where they couldn't release guns with action figures and like.
I think it's the fact that
he releases the gun packs.
Yeah,
I think it's the fact that it's life size.
But
right.
At that same time, like I said, they have Nerf guns. Those are life size, and some are even bigger, right? So
you're not wrong.
Or like I have the Nerf gun version of the pulse rifle from Aliens.
Yeah,
like they've released guns So I'm wondering if it's because of the coloring and how realistic it can look.
Mm-hmm.
Where
I
you
think
can
that's
like, oh,
where it's
and they can't like have it formed and then expect you like, oh, now put the orange thing on the tip of it. You know what I mean? Like to
yeah.
make
No
it
one's gonna
not
do that.
right. So I wonder if that's the actual legality behind it, or if
Well,
they're just like
and also that's the thing. If they do that, that orange tip is supposedly it's supposed to be a permanent piece, not that
right. That's what
piece
I'm
that comes off. Yeah,
Nobody wants an orange tip.
exactly.
correct. That's why people got so pissed off when they had to put the orange tip on the proton wands when they redid the proton wands through Hasbro. Because like if you got the original proton wand that came out, it didn't have the orange tip on it. But then like the re-release, they had to put the orange tip on the end of it.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize they had to do
Yeah.
that. Man, yeah, I'd be livid about that.
Hmm.
But hey, you know what? That's a good way to kind of go into Does anyone have figures that you want to share while we're
Ooh,
talking about? Yeah.
so I won't
Got my
share the Terrordrome. My my wise purchase.
Yeah.
I have cats sleeping on it. It was a terrible purchase. It's the fake grass. This what does it.
Like we feel like
So
we're
it's really cool.
outside.
I will show you the I will show you guys the fire bat. Oh God, I'm getting fat. All right.
By the way, you can see for those of you guys listening, you can see some photos and video on Shellhead's Facebook.
Yeah, this piece is
If you
awesome.
wanna,
So it's scaled for the classified Series Joes. And it's super awesome. The whole Terrordrome, everything's scaled for classified Series Joes. And I have talked about doing 3 3/4, if only to give it that much more scale. I'd love to buy a his tank that scales that small and some of the trouble bubbles that scale that small because I want that feeling that this is their base. It's really cool. And yes, if I buy the 6-inch, excuse me, or whatever the classified series come, if I buy those, they scale for the drone, and that's cool. And it feels like you have, a Terrordrome with 3 3/4 on it, like in the original scale. But I want to feel like this is the base. And so I want to have the smaller figures and everything scaled down where it's like, if this was real life, that would be the scale. And so I like that idea, and I think that's really cool.
But then the turrets on the top would not be scaled.
Plus, I have giant cats that are borderline pumas crawling all over it.
Like the 3 3/4 inches trying to sit on those turrets up there.
I know.
Would look like the space jockey from Alien. Like it would just be massive.
Johnny and I were talking about that. He goes, or I should say, I was like, it wouldn't look right. There's no way it look right. But anyway, so I got this. It's not much to look at, but I had a friend that went to Japan. And so he brought me back a Transformer.
Whoa, you have other friends?
I do.
You haven't clarified. You haven't like asked our permission for that. Like, hold on.
I apologize.
So
we are getting married. No, I'm just kidding. So, but it's kind of cool because he sent me a picture in a store, and in the store, much like one of our Walmarts or something like that, only it's way more organized. It was wall to wall toys, and so like you wanted Transformers, they had nothing but like 3 rows of just Transformers, and everything is just so organized. Like it blew my mind. It's like, oh, you need this guy? We don't have one of him. We have 70 of him. And it was just very well organized and like priced and whatever. So when he brought it back, it was kind of cool. Has all the kanji. I assume you call it kanji. All the kanji on there. And then 1,980, and it looks like an M. And I don't know. Is that yen? I apologize if I'm ignorant.
I have no idea.
In Japan, is it still yen or is it something else?
I am uncultured when it comes to that
Anybody?
side of the world.
I don't know. Maybe if you guys are checking this out on YouTube, write in the comments.
Yeah, can you let us know because I'm an idiot.
Can you actually can you put it back up so they can see the
absolutely. So
tag,
can you
what
tell
it
me
looks
how
like?
much this was? He said it was like $5 or $10. If you know, put a comment down there.
Well, in front of it, that looks like the yen symbol in the front of that.
It's hard to tell. If not, I do have a cat named Raven. Just tell me you think she's cute, and we'll go from there.
For those of you guys that are listening and aren't able to see that, sorry. That sucks. But you can always go on YouTube and check it out too. But what Tony was putting up there is a studio series,
Yep.
and it's a Bumblebee, and it's the Japanese release of it, and it looks incredible. But the sizing of that though, does that look like it's a little bigger than Core, doesn't it? Like what
So it's
size is
studio
that?
series. It's
It's
what do you
studio
call
series,
that?
but
It's
that
the
doesn't look like it's in
the
scale with
mini
the others.
ones, not Legend. What do you call that?
Core.
Is it Core?
Yeah, that's their small scale
And it's
version.
Dark of the Moon,
Dark of the Moon, yeah, but that looks smaller than their.
which was a great movie. I love that one actually.
No, it looks really good. Like, and that kind of makes me kind of like, well, why can't Hasbro release their here in the U.S. the Core ones to look like that?
Yeah,
Because the Core
well,
figures are not.
we don't want to piss off Hasbro. They may be a guest at some point.
Well, then I'll ask them that directly.
Hey, Today's new universe. Anything can happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But speaking of Hasbro, I do got some Hasbro myself that I would like to share with you guys.
please, sir, what do you have?
Do it.
Yeah, so mail call just came in today.
Oh snap, dude! I didn't order that. I was going to.
Yeah, he
The
looks.
Sarge.
That is dope.
And so for those of you guys listening in,
my figure.
we got the Sergeant Slaughter's classified series, the Mad Marauders. This figure is really cool. I was really hoping this would come out sooner because I was kind of hoping to send this your way and you can get it signed by.
Oh
Sergeant Slaughter
snap! It has a tiny Comic-Con exclusive Sergeant Slaughter figure in it.
Look at that guy. Well, the other
That is
release,
cool as
the other
hell.
release had a tiny Sergeant Slaughter too.
What?
The other one that came out, yeah.
You're blowing Tony's mind right now.
First of all, calm down. I see Swoop coming. But
Yeah.
all right, so for those of you that can't see, there was a 20, I think it's 2010. I don't know, maybe 2016. The figure's not near me. Sergeant Slaughter, con exclusive, and in the can't see Raven is on the screen. She's adorable. Her name is Baby Raven, and we love her. But Sergeant Slaughter did this figure, and on the front, it's Sergeant Slaughter. It's a normal like G.I. Joe pack or whatever, blister pack. On the back, there is a letter, and it's not signed. And it's Sergeant Slaughter's letter to the Joes. And the point of that is Sergeant Slaughter takes that to shows, and he signs it on the front, like whatever you want. Then he flips it over, and he signs the letter to the Joes, Sergeant Slaughter. So you get a real signed letter. So whenever Johnny just showed the figure has, Johnny, can you put it up again?
Sure.
It has a miniature version of that con exclusive where the back of it has the ability where he could write on the letter, Sergeant
I
Slaughter.
don't
So it's
know if
kind of
this
cool.
the back of this has that letter on it or not, but
Well, the little figure, we don't know if the little figure does, but that's what it's supposed to be. So that's cool.
that'd be
So
kind
what
of
else
cool if it
you want
did.
to swoop on in with something else?
Nice. Very nice. Yes. This next one here, Studio Series 86 swoop came in.
I do not have that yet, and I pre-ordered it a while ago.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have
I
it
do have
either.
to give credit where credit is due. This actually came through my boy Matt over at Nerdzoic.
You're Zoic. I've never used
Yeah,
it.
he hooked it up. Another awesome toy store. Great toy store online. Great guy. He started out as a YouTube channel.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher's
goals.
Hope.
Yeah, so yeah,
So-
he did it. He did a YouTube channel, just about toys in general. And then after COVID hit, it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, unemployed. Like, what do I do? He started a toy store, and it just kind of went from there.
Nice.
So there's one thing I think we should bring up, and we were talking about it earlier, and we are talking about like toys and what have you and collecting. So if you're a Funko person, right? There is the. I love how Weizie shakes his head because he knows he's like, I'm out. Raven, get away from me.
I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. There
No
are
Funkos.
some Funkos
I'm
in my
selling all
in my collection.
Funkos.
I can't. I'm talking to you guys, and I'm like, Raven, go away. So, Funko, with the Funko app, Rebel Girl is a Funko diehard girl. She is. I love her to death, but she's all Funko. And so she has over 16, almost 1,700 Funkos. And she has this app. And when you scan with the Funko app, it tells you what the Funkos are worth, which is awesome because it gives you a general idea of what you should be asking or paying for said Funkos. With that being said, Weizie did not find it, which I'm disappointed. I had more higher hopes for him. It's all right, calm down. We have Johnny. It's fine. So Johnny found this website, which I'm gonna check out, which apparently will find and identify items you might have in your personal collection, Shellheads, that will tell you approximate value. And I'm sure the value is very skewed. We don't know. There's not a whole lot of information on the website. But regardless, kind of cool. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to spend a lot of time on it. And Johnny, what is that website?
So it's Legends Verse, and I'm actually
Legends Verse.
Yeah, I'll share this.
I thought it was J5toys.com, but different website. Sorry.
That's a different site. But you should definitely check it out if you want to collect some cool figures from there too.
Free shipping.
So and this guy Alejandro put this together, and I actually came across this via YouTube. I was watching Nerdzoic.
Shellheads, be right back. Go ahead. Keep going, Johnny.
He was going over this on there. And what's really neat about this too is they're adding more constantly. As you can see here, Mythic Legions has just recently been added. There's a Black Series. You have your Marvel Legends, Marvel Kenner, G.I. Joe, Mafex, DC. And then I actually got an email from them this past week because they were asking like, hey, is there suggestions of things we can do to improve? I was suggesting like, hey, maybe start including some Transformers and third parties as well, because that's a huge bulk of my collection. But as you can see here, he's got Mythic Legion figures here, and then it's got the other ones as well from different toy lines.
Do they have like by brand or by company?
So currently it's by. So if you go back here, it's by like So it's by the toy lines. So for example, Marvel Legends.
Gotcha.
And you have your DC Multiverse line, Marvel Select line, and so forth. You have your Black Series line, and so these lines aren't complete, by the way, but they're still being expanded. The last time I was here, they didn't even have this here. The Black Series didn't have as many as it does now. So each time I come back here, I'm able to actually increase what's in my collection. For example, like this year was actually I recently added.
That's fantastic.
The first time I went in, they didn't have this, so I was like, oh wait, this is coming in. So now I can actually go in here and mark it as part of my collection instead of incoming. So you can put here, you can have incoming, you can have a wish list here. So if you come across figures that like you don't have that you want to add to your collection, you can add so. They also have like the Build-A-Figures. So for those of you guys watching this, like if you saw my wish list, I have the Deadpool and Hitmonkey because I love Hitmonkey. So one of the things on my wish list for there is actually the Build-A-Figure for Hitmonkey. So I do eventually I want to find that in
the one from like 2011.
Yeah, but it's pretty. You can and so you can go buy all the different Build-A-Figures here.
It looks super impressive. So Weizie, I would say, and you might agree with me, I would say treat this kind of like eBay and don't use it as gospel.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, so it's very, very cool.
And here's the other thing too. Like I tell people all the time, like I have folks that used to come into my store and be like, "Well, what do you think is the most valuable? Is going to be the most valuable thing?" I'm like, if that's what you're looking for, you're looking for the wrong reasons here. Here's the thing. These toys, like the value goes up and down so quickly. And so, and there are some things that are going to go up with value in time. And that's just because, one, it's rare. Two, it's because of the figure itself. It was well made, well done, and something that was in demand and there weren't a lot of. Another neat thing about this too, you can actually click on some of these and it'll give you like the scaling on here, how rare a figure is and so forth.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, I mean, this site's cool. I'll check back just to see as they add stuff. Because right now, from what I'm seeing, the only thing I can really take advantage of and use would be the actual Marvel Legends. Like, I don't see anything on there for NECA at all.
It's still being added. There's stuff being worked on and added. So it
looks like infant stages. Maybe it's not quite there yet.
Yeah. I'll check back, periodically, because once they get to the NECA side.
And the cool thing about that too is it's a community thing. So the more people that come on here and start doing that and adding to it, the bigger it is going to get. So you also see here there's groups. Like if you look under the community tab, and there's different groups of people with other folks that are collecting the same toy line that you can kind of join their groups and
Oh,
so
that's cool.
forth. There's also customs, so you can upload here your custom figures.
Because like this just at the same time like makes me dread doing this. And I'm like, oh, I got hundreds of Marvel Legend figures. Now I gotta look at each one and go through and find them. Like
But
the reward at the end to have a nice organized would be great, but it's like, man, to
here's the
start
other
and
thing.
try and catalog this collection now is going to take a while.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too though. I think it's really going to make it worthwhile though, especially once this gets updated and you're able to have like a more comprehensive as far as numbers of your collection. Uh for those of you guys that are collectors, here's a huge thing. Your basic insurance is not going to cover your collection's value. So,
I
for
have
example,
collector's
Tony,
insurance.
yeah, for example, Tony, if we live in Florida, a hurricane comes through here, floods your house and all that stuff, and or the wind takes off, your basic home insurance, even under hurricane coverage, is not going to cover the value of your collection and
Yep.
the increased value of said collection. Now, the cool thing about this, you have everything cataloged in here. You kind of have a growing tab of what your collection's worth. So when you do decide to get your collector's insurance, which there is insurance out there for that, by the way, um, this will help you kind of keep organized for that and get that together. So that way, in the event, heaven forbid, something like that happens to some of you guys, hope it never does. But if it does, this helps you kind of keep a running tab of what you got going and to help you kind of
The only question then
recoup
would
some of
be,
that.
does the insurance company accept this as
So I will tell
right?
you this. I'll interject. So Wheezy, great point. So the company I went through, and I can't remember the name. I'll have to look at my emails. But basically, I got to dictate to them what I thought my collection was worth, and then I pay a premium based on that amount. And then they told me, I said, well, first question, I was like, well, if something gets broken, how do I submit it to you? They go, if something falls off your shelf and breaks, and you say it was worth this much, and you have supporting documents, basically like eBay is kind of how they go off of it.
Action figure 411 would be your
So
best
if
bet.
you have supporting documents, you submit those, and they tell you, okay, based on these documents, this is what the figure is worth. It's broken. We're going to go ahead and give you the monies to either A, replace it, whatever you want to do with it. But then you got to figure those premiums are going to go up. So
Right.
how often do you want to have a figure breaking or being stolen from your home?
I mean,
Just like any
ideally
other
you
insurance,
don't.
right? To be able to like pay that premium to go up. I was paying $80 or am paying $80 for, not going to say how much, but a substantial coverage for my insurance for my toys.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into what I was paying for, like as far as the store itself on that. It's insane.
Yeah,
Because
it's a little
because we have
different with the
because
store.
the thing is we have buy sell trade, so we'd have things that come in, that were traded in, but because of the value of it as it goes up or goes down or whatever, some other things that came in that are already high valued items, you know. So it was one of those things like if something ever happened inside the store, the basic insurance plan that we had for the store itself would not cover that. So we had to get like a collector's insurance on that, just for that, just on that purposes. And the premium is it is up there, but again, if something does happen, at least you're fully covered on that loss.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I'll check back as they add stuff because for the NECA, I definitely need that because that's the majority of my collection. That and Marvel Legends.
Yeah, well, for me, like I was saying, for me, Transformers is a huge bulk of my collection, and third party Transformer figures. That's kind of what got me started into all of this. Was my love for Transformers and collecting those figures, and you know so yeah, it's gonna be neat as it grows. And I feel like this is pretty cool. Like it's nice to actually see something where it's organized like that for figures, because I've seen the one for Funkos, and I actually use that one from time to time if
I do
I'm out and
too.
about and have to quickly try to look up a Funko figure. That thing comes handy. All you have to do is scan that barcode on the bottom. It pulls all the current.
Which I've
Myself
been
and
thinking
Rebel
about
Girl both.
recently about using like Microsoft program or whatever Excel to make like a spreadsheet so I can keep track of what I have, like an inventory of my collection.
Hmm.
And the thought of that with how much I have. But with this same thing, it's like it's just scary. But
Yeah.
with this
Well,
one, at least we
for
have
us,
ways to actually see pictures, everything else, and not have to go through and dig for all that myself. So that definitely I see the bonus there. I'll definitely be checking back into it.
yeah. Well, like for us, like when we do like our inventory and stuff, it's all through spreadsheets, like Excel files, and then luckily for me, I kind of know like them by names and by lines and stuff, so I know in my head what this figure looks like, and so I know which aisle to go down in which section. But yeah, I do like how it's kind of all there, and it's like, and if you saw on there, there's a breakdown that has it by years as well. Each of these waves that when they came out. So if you're looking for something from 2017, I think it goes back all the way to 97. I've seen some lines from there,
Oh wow!
moving from 97 moving up.
So speaking of Transformers, Johnny, I don't know if you've seen. Did you see Power of the Primes? Prime?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh man, I have one in the other room. I can go get it, but I
Yeah.
got one.
Hey,
It just came out. So it's Power of the Primes, it's Optimus Prime, and I'm gonna guess they're re-releasing it in anticipation for the Studio 86 line
mm-hmm.
to try to keep people like, hey, if you didn't get Studio 86, you can get this now because Studio 86 it sold out. I didn't get it. We talked about this before. I was going to buy one off you, and then talking about myself maybe getting one in the store because for Shellhead Toys, I want to have it to resell because there's people who are going to want it. Like Ultra Magnus, I sold him. I'm not going to tell you how much, but I sold him. And so I'd like to have Optimus because I think he's going to be one of those pieces. I think Power of the Primes Optimus is a good trade-off if you're not doing Studio 86. And if you're doing the War for Cybertron line, if you're doing Kingdom Come line, any of those, they scale well with that Optimus. Have you still haven't seen him yet in Target?
No.
Ah, God.
Yeah, go get it. We want to see it.
Shoot.
Yep.
Do you want me to take an intermission for 5 minutes, go find one?
Whoa, no. 5 minutes.
Actually, Johnny, if you Google it, just type in Power of the Primes Optimus, you can share it.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's some.
All right. In the
smart
meantime,
thinking.
Wheezy, you got anything you want to share, man?
Yeah, I haven't talked much.
Jesus. I mean, I
Oh!
don't have anything like
3D printed. No. 3D printed face huggers.
They're in the garage in boxes for the show.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Wait. Which show?
Well, the previous show they were just in the stuff
Still?
for sale boxes. So
All right, Shellheads.
Still?
Wheezy's got these 3D printed face huggers, which are freaking
Oh, yeah.
awesome. And they have this crazy articulation where it's creepy as crap.
Oh wait,
You
are
put
you
them on your hand and just kind of fall into your hand.
yeah, they're awesome.
Oh,
It's the
man.
coolest thing I've ever seen. He brought them to the show, and I can't believe we haven't gotten rid of them.
I'm still waiting on mine, Wheezy. What's
I
up
mean,
with that?
that got lost in the mail, I think.
Yeah. Wait,
I gotta
man, are you
I
talking
gotta
about?
print some more? 'Cause,
Wait a minute.
Right now, on the printer, I've been doing a Tasmanian Devil.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Oh, everybody in 1994 wants that.
man,
Yes.
I was such a hater on Looney Tunes for some reason.
Can I get it on a tattoo with my tribal? And Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah. Why not?
Hey, you know what? I don't care, man. I love Looney Tunes.
Damn right. Looney Tunes is amazing. But
Yes,
yeah,
I still have my my Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes from when I was a little kid.
see, this guy gets it. No, so
Yep.
it's a Tasmanian Devil. So I printed like his face and then his upper torso was printing last night and this morning.
Nice.
And then I have to print the tornado. We'll have to print probably next. But like while I've got the brown filament in the printer, I'm thinking about printing a Scooby.
Speedy Gonzalez?
I mean, I can do Speedy. I've got a file for Speedy.
Yes.
But
Please.
I got a file for Speedy, Wile E. Coyote. You know, the kangaroo with the
Yeah,
boxing
brown
gloves.
filament. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll have it.
Brown filament. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm like, oh, I should probably print a bunch of the brown parts I need for.
The eye roll is the best part of J5. Sorry. He's like,
But yeah, so I'm working on the Tasmanian Devil and a bunch
Nice.
of other stuff at the same time. But once
So
I get
you-
around to where I need to print beige stuff, I'll do more face huggers at the same time because then I'll have the beige filament in there and just knock out a couple face huggers and then whatever else.
Did you see the
Nice.
tails I sent you?
The who?
Tails.
Yes. So that
thing
tails
was
you
awesome.
sent me, I've got the file for that tails, but he actually comes with a base, like a whole stand, so it looks like he's
Oh.
running. So whoever printed that one, if you look like the way his feet are, he's got a stand like on the tip of his toes and his tails to make him stand up.
Oh.
But there's a
okay.
whole base that he attaches to that's like the base is just the scene from the stage, like the video from the actual game.
So Tails and Sonic together, that would sell.
Wait, I'll give you the program and you can figure out the sizing problem with that damn Sonic.
So you want to hear something funny, Chris? We're talking about Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny. That Bugs Bunny toy that I had from childhood,
Mhm.
as well as a couple of the McDonald toys. The guy that I've been in contact with that's doing the sculpting for me on this toy line that I'm working on, he actually did that same Bugs Bunny and
that's
those
awesome.
McDonald toys that I still have. And I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe that. I was like, dude, I need to thank you for my childhood.
That's awesome.
Where people make so much cool stuff, and it's like I didn't buy the printers to try and print and make money off of. I bought them for my own hobby, just to enjoy printing stuff here and there, right? But then I'm like, oh, some of this stuff's really cool. If I could print extra and see if people
You guys
want it,
continue. I'll be right back.
it'll work out. But people make such cool crap right now. Like I don't even know where to start just for myself on some of this stuff.
But
Like,
you're
I
so
got-
talented, man. Like I tell you all the time, man. Like you're so talented, and you can do so many good things, so many prints. It's just a matter of finding the right prints for you and what you can have time for.
Right.
You know?
Like I said, and like I didn't buy the printers, like I said, to make money. I bought them for myself, just as a hobby. So it's not like because I feel like if I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I have to print this stuff because I need to make money on this, it's going to take away the fun that I enjoy doing.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
So that's why when it comes to like some of the bigger stuff, I'm like, oh, I have to buy a bigger printer to do bigger. I'm like, not right now. Like I'm still enjoying just the fun aspect of printing stuff.
See, I wish I knew as much as you. I wish I knew as much as you did, because I would buy bigger printers, print some bigger stuff. I know what I want to print in my head, but I don't want to put that on you.
I did find a couple files today that you might be interested in if I could print them. So they're normally like this big and they go in the chest of a transformer.
Oh, the Matrix?
No, like they're like cassette tapes.
Oh, that's not the same. But also cool.
Like I feel like cooler. Like small transformers that sit inside of another transformer. Pretty cool. No?
All right, so I want to cut this real quick. Johnny, behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you move to the left? There it is. So you have the one I have, CO101. What is to the left of that? Is that Masterpiece Optimus?
Which, hold on a second. Oh, by the way,
turn around.
there's
Oh.
Power of the Prime, right?
Ah, there it is. That's the one.
So, and I do have the Rodimus as well. Now,
Oh, shit.
I gotta
Wait.
tell you,
Back up. Shell headers. How much is the Power of the Prime's Rodimus?
I'm not sure.
On
If
the
you guys
website?
know, comment below.
Are you shopping right now?
A little bit. J5toys.com. Not hashtag not shellheads.
But
Wait, so are you talking about this Prime here?
Keep going over. Meow. To the right. It looks like a masterpiece.
Which one?
No.
That one up there?
Ironhide and Ratchet are in front of it.
Okay, this here?
Are you new? All right. Ironhide and Ratchet are in front of it. There's a box. Behind the box. The box.
Back there, in the back.
Yes.
Yes, that's the MP44. That's the re-release, the 40th
Can you
anniversary.
open that up? Or not open it up. Can you show it?
just break it out.
God damn it.
There it is.
I was going to say show the box, but that's amazing.
Yeah, so I have it right here.
Shellhead Toys, this is our screw it, this is where we're at.
Yep. So yeah, this thing's pretty impressive. But the weird thing is, I get it, MP44. I really would have liked this in white to be a
Oh,
little bit more tune accurate.
but
And
I feel like
when you
it's
see llama,
very
but
toy accurate to transform kind of thing. Ish.
yeah, and
Ish.
the vehicle mode. I have to say the vehicle mode. I do love this paint versus this all red.
So are the tires rubber or plastic?
It's like a plastic. It
Like
has a
tire.
very rubber like feel, but they do roll really well. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nicely done. It's a very good figure. But I just keep this one in its alt mode, the truck mode.
Yeah, it looks like it scales very well with the Megatron from that series.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
That's
mean,
very
I
cool.
have up there. I have the YOLO Park, and I actually like the articulation on that. So if I do any photography, any stuff like that, I use that, and then I'll just use this in its alt mode for any things that I do, like as far as pictures and stuff like that. But what's really weird is, as I told you guys, when I was about 12 or 13, stop collecting toys, and I just kind of put them away, and stop playing with toys and all that stuff. Like
I sold
11,
mine.
11 12, huh?
I sold mine when I was young.
Yeah, a lot of them I put away in like a bin, right? And it kind of just went there. Throughout moving, some of it got lost. Some of it I still have. But to say, since then I didn't buy toys, didn't collect toys, and then when I was in college, like, and I was living in Virginia, I was actually buying a gift for this little kid. It was my ex girlfriend's kid brother, right? And and I decided to go to a thrift shop, and I was like, maybe I could find some like a really cool bag of toys, because I used to have bag of toys at like Goodwill and stuff like that. And it
Yeah.
was like random stuff, and I was like, well, let me see if they have some old school toys that maybe he'll have fun. He can just kind of throw around and wreck. Doesn't matter if he breaks it, because it's only spent like $3 on a bag or something. And so while going through there, I saw they had a Unicron, right? You remember the older Unicron? It was about what, 12, 13
From
inches long.
Armada? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this thing looks cool. And I love how the fingers are articulated. And I was like, man, this is a really good looking Unicron. I was like, man, they never had this when I was a kid. And so I was like, you know what? And I think it was crazy, the price. I think I paid $4 for it.
Yeah.
It was a loose. It's in there. It was a Goodwill store. It was loose. Didn't have all the. Didn't have everything with it, and I didn't care about that. I didn't buy it. I just bought it because I was like, it's Unicron. I always wanted a Unicron. I think that would have been cool if they came out
It's
with it.
Unicron, yeah. Yeah.
So I bought that, and I was kind of like, man, this is kind of cool, but I didn't like get into collecting. I just had it on my shelf with other stuff. It was just kind of like that was like my one little figure, right? Fast forward to about 6, 7 years ago, Christmas comes around, and I don't know why that year in particular, like everyone, like my family, like my nieces and my nephews and my sister, they all got me like Funkos for some reason. I have
They're
never
like, this
never been
guy's a
into Funkos,
nerd.
never
We just
indicated,
need to.
but it was Deadpool Funkos, and I love Deadpool, so I was like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. I was like, all right, and then my wife and my brother for some reason get me Transformers figures. So this was a Christmas gift from my wife and my brother.
That's awesome.
And so after that, though, I was like, oh, these are actually really good. And then I started looking, into like what's been released, and I was like, holy crap! Like, I missed out on some really cool Transformers that kind of been coming out over the years, because it's been completely out of my radar. And so I was like, the collection bug kind of hit me, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to go back and get some of those old school Transformers that I had from back in the day.
Such a
And
kind
that's
of
it.
cool
Kind of started
collector.
from there. Yeah. So it's funny you bring up the power of the primes, and I'm like, when you were saying it though, it wasn't clicking in my brain. But then when I went on Google here and looked it up, I was like, holy shit, wait, I have those. And
That hot rod is dope.
some of these prices though are stupid
Well,
that I see
look,
going
another
on
guy.
eBay for these.
Sorry, we have Truffy, guys. Truffles Risotto. That's her name.
But Tony, I was saying I found the files for 2 of the cassette tapes that go in, I guess, Soundwave.
Ooh.
So I'm like, oh, you print those things to be like this big.
That'd be dope.
Get them a good in tape mode, a good 5.5 inches by whatever. I think it'd be
Yeah.
pretty sick, and it transforms.
5.5 inches.
So I mean, I'll print them, but you just gotta, you can paint them. I don't want to paint them. You can have fun with the paint.
They have people for that.
Hey,
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, you can order decals that are.
Yeah.
And actually, it was pretty cool. You can probably order those. What is it that iridescent reflecting type?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you get like for like the
You can get
purple
crazy with
one. I think
those.
one's like a purple one, printed in like one of the iridescent purple colors, and definitely look cool.
All right, what else we got?
So something I had mentioned before. Are we planning on ending this soon, or do you want to continue on further?
No, we're getting out of the wire, but it's cool, man. We'll keep talking.
So
We're trying to
one
wind
of
it
the things
up
I mentioned
without winding it up.
that I had mentioned last week, I was watching one of the Pixel Dan's videos, and he had mentioned that he wonders if more part of the problem, or if some collectors now, and how we're doing like all these crowdfunding projects and how expensive they're getting, and how the merchandise and collecting and the prices are going up. If some collectors are just getting priced out of collecting.
Oh, all
And I
right,
can
good
see
call.
that because when you have figures now that we were paying $20 for, as what, maybe 6-7 years ago, we're now paying $50 for. And then you have all these HasLabs or other crowdfunding things, even like through Kickstarter. Like the prices on these things are just going up and up and up.
So, as a shellhead, let's go ahead and address that elephant in the room. So, these $159 or $149 two packs or four packs used to be $99, $119 kind of thing.
Right? Because the figures are
They've
20
gone
bucks a
up.
piece.
Hmm.
They've gone up exponentially. So, how hard is it for somebody, the average collector, to go, hey, I'm going to spend $150 plus tax for this one four pack? By the way, I still need these other 4 one packs of these guys
Right.
or a 2 pack of these guys. They're spending I'm going to tell you, I spent $580 at Target the other day.
I'll send you some money.
Yeah, I know, but on nothing, truthfully. In my head, not enough to consequent the amount of money I spent.
Right. Because, like,
That's how bad it is now.
because I mean, I think there's a lot of truth to like what I said when Pixel Dan was mentioning it, and I thought about how when Target does the holothons,
Yeah.
and it's like as soon as they announce it, like, oh man, this is going to be about a $600 bill if I want everything they're dropping.
If you can find it, yeah.
Yeah, if you can find it, at least right away, because you can find it later. Like everything starts
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
on the shelves eventually, but yeah. So I think a lot of collectors, especially on the casual side, you want to talk about the casual collectors who are new to it, even getting into these things new, we're being priced out of a lot of it. And one of the things that worries me with the upcoming line would be the real Ghostbusters from Mondo. $200 for the 2 packs, where I could see there's value in it. I'm with it. I'm gonna get them. But it's like, damn, that's steep, and I can see where a lot of people who are, say, huge fans of the line are going to be left out because the prices are just going up and up and up.
I backed off because it's not for me. I don't care that much to spend that money.
I care that much.
Mondo Turtles are different, but anyway, Chris, or not Chris, Johnny.
Well, and it's crazy you said that because I feel the same way. Like it has to be something that really draws to me at this point now. I'm becoming a lot more selective about my collection and what I'm adding. One, I'm starting to run out of shelf space. Like I just don't have the spacing to keep adding stuff. And so
Just make more
exactly.
shelves.
No, I can't do that,
Shell space, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yeah, live in an apartment, it's a small space, so I can't be doing that. And I don't want to buy something just to have to rotate it in a box, like in a storage unit, and then rotate them out. I feel like that's dumb. I rather sell it and let someone that's really going to be able to enjoy and appreciate it have it versus, doing that. Like I feel like that's just a waste. So it's really crazy because yeah, it's like, if it's going to be a really expensive crowdfund, you know, then it's like it really has to be something that I'm gonna really want. It's gonna be worth my while to get in my collection. For example, like the HasLab Unicron, that was a one of a kind piece, and so it's one of those things where it's like you know what, if I bet a lot of people if they can go back and do it all over again, they would, because it's like Like, holy crap. Yeah. And here's the thing. I keep saying, like, don't get it because you think it's going to go up in value and whatever. I mean,
I love it. I want the piece.
exactly. Exactly. Same thing with like when the Sentinel and the Galactus came out, is because those are, for me, I feel like those are unique pieces, and the sizing of them, I love it. I was like, all right, you're not gonna find this anywhere else, you know. Now, for your standard releases, it's crazy. I know a lot of that's inflation too, and just this everything in the as far as what you're paying for normal stuff has changed. You
Well,
know,
yeah, and then
it's
part of
everywhere.
that,
Like people don't go to McDonald's now because they're saying, dude, for the amount of money I pay at McDonald's, I can go to a sit down restaurant and get
McDonald's
a
is
better
really
Right.
quality meal.
stepping out of their price bracket. Like McDonald's needs to calm
Yeah,
down. They are not worth the prices they're asking. Like McDonald's,
but
relax.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. That is kind of going everywhere. It's spreading on everything. It's not just McDonald's, and it's not just the toy industry itself. I feel like, honestly, like you have your big companies, Hasbro, Mattel. I feel like they can really cut back and actually scale these prices to a more reasonable pricing, but they're not going to.
They
Same
can,
thing that
and
they could.
they absolutely can. It's all greed because they have stockholders or people that they have to make sales for, and they're like, oh, we need to keep this level of annual profit that we get. When in reality, it's like, okay, you guys made, just throwing out crazy numbers just for the hell of it, but say, oh yeah, we made 5 billion profit this year. Oh, but if we scale back, we'd only make 4.5 billion. Oh, we can't make 4.5 billion. We want that five. Oh, well, this goes for 6 next year. Then prices go up. But whereas in other countries, that's not the mindset. You get companies like Nintendo, who's like, oh, we kind of lose money on the Nintendo systems in Japan, like, but they still make them because they have everything else that their company produces that makes the money, and they make it the Nintendo system even at a loss. That's not something that we see here. Here, they're just like, oh, we need to keep making that profit, and it's
That
crazy,
reminds me of Costco chicken. Do you know that rotisserie chicken that they have at Costco?
right?
They sell it for like what is it, $4, $4 or $5?
Or their hot dogs
They're
for $1.50 for a hot dog from
yeah. Well,
Starbucks.
actually, those items they sell those intentionally at a loss. But
Yeah,
here's the thing: it gets people in the door.
correct.
And so where they make up their money is on the other items that people will buy in store once they're there.
Right.
Even
That's
though
I mean, you got companies who do stuff like that. Like you'll see during hurricanes down here, all the gas stations, their prices go sky high, right? Because there's, oh, we need the money. They false bullshit. But then you'll find like one gas station that sells gas for like $2. But then they know that everybody walking in to buy gas, they're going to be buying sodas, drinks, all the other stuff that's inside the store, and they get all the money they lost on the gas back on that. But the
hmm
companies here, these toy companies, they just want to keep making that profit, and it's going to be to a point where people are just going to stop. People are going to get priced out, and then they're just going to be like, "What do you guys do then?" Either they're going to blame the consumer, like, "Oh, well, you guys must not want these figures anymore," and they're going to stop making them. They're not going
well,
to adjust their prices, and admit that they did wrong, right?
you kind of already started seeing that effect where the prices aren't. They're making too many of the items, and the pricing is a little too high, so people aren't buying it, and they're doing that. They're doing that, clearance chicken, where they're waiting for it to hit Ross and Ollie's and stuff like that, and buy it at those
It's a
pricing.
lot of that though.
Yeah, but
And
a
so
lot of that,
here's what happened with last year when a lot of people were doing that. Now they had this overstock, and so now this year what you're seeing is those figures are being undermade,
right?
creating that shortage, and so it's going to loop back around to that again, and folks are just going to pretty much be like, hey, look, I'd rather pay you know electricity versus buying a Hasbro figure.
Right. So what happened a lot was that during COVID, all the COVID collectors came out, right? So these toy companies were seeing crazy sales. Walmart, Target were like, "Oh, wow, these things are selling like hotcakes right now." So they start putting in orders for a crap load. So all the toy companies started making a crap load to make to fill all those orders that the big toy companies or big box stores were putting in.
Mhm.
Now, COVID's done. A lot of the COVID collectors stopped collecting. Those sales have dwindled. So now the Walmarts and Targets are putting in a lot lower numbers for orders. So these toy companies are like, oh, okay, they're adjusting. But all that clearance we saw last year was because none of this shit sold, but they ordered in 2022 when everything was going crazy. So all those orders came from 2022, got supplied in 23, and the sales dropped. So then they all went to clearance stores. And toy companies have already reported that those orders for 2023 to 2024 were low, and then the orders for 2025 are even lower. So we'll see those numbers drop even more. But the question is, when those numbers drop, do the toy companies make their adjustments, or are they just going to blame the fans for not buying and supporting it and then cancel lines?
Way too much talking.
Yeah, way too much talking on a podcast.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, who would have thought? No, that does make a good point. And I honestly don't think it's going to go that far where they're going to start dropping lines. I feel like they're going to start, what they're going to start doing is, like I said, they're going to start under producing, and they're going to try to create a demand. And once that demand sparks, the craze, again, they're like, well, okay, let's do another increase. And so it's just going to swing back and forth like a pendulum.
We could hope.
Well, that's kind of been the trend. If you go back the past, 10 years and you look at how it's kind of been.
I mean, but then you think about Hasbro, right? And the big hiccup they had with Ghostbusters for Afterlife because of COVID.
What do you mean hiccup?
Well, because they had the figure set and lined up, but then the movie got pushed back a year.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they had to release the figures they had, but then they had a year off, and then they re-released the figures that they had already released a year before for the movie, and the sales dwindled on those because everybody already bought them the first time. And then all of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, well, Plasma Series didn't do well," and then the figures died off. They're not making them anymore, So like, it happened, and it was all because the movie got delayed because of COVID and everything. It messed up everything, right? So it happened there, and you could see the potential. That was one of the worries recently with Mattel, and they had that giant snake mountain or whatever the hell they were trying to push for a crowdfund, and the fans fought against it because it was too much money, this and that. And people were kind of worried that, like, oh, maybe they're going to be like, oh, well, the fans don't want He-Man anymore. They don't want to support this, so we're not going to do it. That was part of the worry that they're.
Oh, yeah, it looks like crap for what they're like.
Right.
Honestly, it looks terrible. I'm like,
but at least I guess what it came down to is that they canceled the whole thing, and they're like going to revisit it and redo it. So instead of trying to blame customers for it, because Mattel loves to blame customers for not supporting stuff, they did that with Ghostbusters as well. But that's another story. So,
man, yeah, and it kind of sucks because a lot of times there's a disconnect between your the people that buy your items and what these guys that are, I guess, in these boardrooms thinking, as far as what they can push and what will sell.
Well, yeah, because the people in the boardrooms think about money. That's if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense to them.
We're getting political.
Yeah. No, not quite, but
Baba Bootsy. So, all right, guys. So, again, Shellheads, thank you for coming out. We plugged J5 Toys. We plugged Weizie plugging J5 Toys.
That was last show. I didn't plug it this time.
It's plugged. Anyway,
maybe peg them later, but
thank you guys for coming out tonight. Hey, I'm gonna tell you. Here's what you got to do. You got to like it. If you like the video, you like the content. Come on, man, like it, man. We're having drinks and toys. We're bullshitting. We're having some drinks and just having a great time talking about whatever. If you want to hear something, you want to talk about something, you want us to discuss something, send us a message, man. Put a comment down. Hey, what?
Wait, so we might invite him on.
Yeah, you never know, dude. We might invite you on. So we'll have it for fun. We don't care. Drinks and toys. That's what we're about. But talk, like, subscribe, please. When all that's said and done,
No kicks.